Thank you a lot. Yes. I just changed your hands.
Yeah.
And it
It would have been so good.
And they're really great.
Well, so they say it's like you're.
Yeah.
Well, you with the community goals, but that last.
Otherwise, yeah.
So that's all you could expect. I would imagine being.
I remember calls. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes he does. Right, now I just let them.
And I think probably.
Yes.
Probably would take place at that should start, right?
Yeah, Jeff.
So you're like.
Yeah.
Able to get there.
That's what the doctor told us. He said that.
Yeah.
I'll give him an experience. Oh, no, it's the right. We're waiting on Bill anyway.
Yeah.
Bill's not coming.
He's there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got your early speaker.
Yeah.
All right, it's still 7 o'clock. I'm gonna call the regular council meeting of August 14th to order at 7 p.m. Would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag.
The United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sherry, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Everman?
Here.
Mr. Fish?
Here.
Mr. Richmond?
Here. Okay, thank you. Next up on the agenda is reading and disposal of the journal. Does anyone have any updates or corrections or changes to the minutes from the last regular council meeting?
I found one tiny thing. On page 4, just missing the dollar sign.
Okay. All right.
This one, one small one, second, the last, or actually the last paragraph, first page, since we don't have, leaf should be leaf collection, it's still leaf, one, two, three, four, line from the bottom of the first page.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended? So, second. Okay, Mr. Vincent, that motion seconded by Mr. Fish.
Okay, Mr. Everman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish West? Yeah. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, council. Next up is action on any matter which you residents wish to address council. I'm seeing a nod from the audience, or excuse me, shaking the head. So I will move on to reports and communications from the mayor and other officials. I will start. Have a number of things, they're quick, but a number of things. So let me start with just updating council as to what's been going on in the village. Some of this stuff has been discussed in committees, but I just thought I want to make sure all of council's aware. First of all, on Hiram Trail, we've had a couple complaints about the condition of the entrance to the pool that we approved a year and a half ago or so, something like that. There were agreements made with Hiram House where they would maintain landscaping and trimming and things and have that entrance look nice. And so 2 residents that live very close to there have complained. I have met with one. I have toured the area with Courtney Nikolai, and I corresponded with the other resident via email. She did not find it necessary to meet because Paul Walsick has been involved and is reviewing those agreements and discussing with Courtney. So I think we're on the right track. I don't think it's nothing alarming, but there were a lot of weeds growing up. There's some landscaping that needs to be improved. There were some things about the gate where they had cones there that really shouldn't be there. So I think all that stuff's being addressed. There were also some other concerns expressed, which council has heard before about speeding. and about trucks and things, and I think everyone knows we can't prohibit trucks unless there's semis going through there. But our chief has increased some patrols over there for speeding. We've received thank yous for that as well. So we are attending to the situation. If you get any questions, please feel free to share. If you don't have the answer, refer them to me. I'm happy to talk to them as well, or the chief, or even call. So I think we're on it. Wanted you to know that. Next thing, I'm just really happy to report. For the Green Commission, we've had 9 people apply for 3 positions, and I would say all of them are good. I have interviewed everyone, and Shayna has interviewed most of them with me. We can only pick 3, so we're working on that, and we'll have that done by the end of the month. I want to just maybe talk about some of the topics that are coming up, just to give council a heads up. There's a lot of discussion about trying to reduce the manicured and mowed and not fertilized, because Mr. Daughter, we do not fertilize and we feed our public area, but to try to figure out how to make it more, our village more natural and less maintenance and more native, but doing it in a responsible and in a way that looks aesthetically pretty. And a lot of the applicants have talked about that. So I would imagine Green Commission will be thinking about that. It may take some time. And I think we need to, as a village and as council, think through, we don't want lots of complaints about this as a mess because no one's mowing, but what can we do to make our village more natural and more sustainable? And I think it's kind of exciting. I was talking to Shayna a lot today about it. There was one applicant in particular that has a sustainable landscaping business. He's done a lot of this on his own property. I visited him at his property. And I think he's got a lot of ideas. Whether he ends up being on the commission or not, we'll see. But I would love to leverage his expertise because that's what he does for a living. And he's done some things in the Heights that he's sent me pictures and things. And so I'll keep you guys informed, but it's kind of exciting. And Shayna's very excited as the new chair of the commission that we have such interest in green. So, and the deadline's not even passed, so we could get some more applicants, but I mean, 9 for 3, sometimes we get 2 for 3, right? So this is a good thing. I think there's some energy out there, and there's older people and younger people, there's a mix. And I think this topic is becoming just more front and center for a lot of people. There's just more passion around how do we use our resources more efficiently, and how do we, take care of our beautiful village that we live in. So anyway, I think that's kind of cool. So that happened. Yesterday, the chief and I and some of the service people met with Hermes for the hills at the pavilion. And I think we got a good plan, chief. I think, and Ted, I think we have a good plan for that event. We hope the weather's going to be good like it's been, but we'll be prepared if it's not. There is another race going on in the trails at the parks on the same day. It starts before ours, but it's a pretty small race, so we're not that worried about it. We've talked to Hermes about it, so I don't think we'll have any problems there. But we're looking forward to the event. So, just talking about the pavilion. Some of you know this from committees. There's been vandalism over there. And we have been working on how to stop that vandalism. And one of those things is having the police check it. But the other thing is also putting cameras up. So there are cameras there. I think most of you might know that already. We put a sign up to say that there's cameras so people are aware. And then we've also updated, we actually did it prior, but we've updated our record retention policy, because once we take video, we have to retain it. So we'll be retaining video up there. There's no audio, it's just video. But if we do have vandalism again, we've had some scratching on the mantle of the fireplace. We've had some I guess, markings of the trash and the recycling bins, those types of things. We will try to find out who's doing it and stop them. We think it may be kids, but we just don't know for sure. But it's just a real shame that we've had a little bit of that. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just something that we shouldn't have here. You know, that's such a beautiful space. I will say that the service department has done a nice job adding hooks. So as I said, I was up there yesterday, they've added hooks to a lot of the posts, and then across, if you're looking down toward River Road, the cross beam, they've added hooks there so that people can hang decorations when they're renting it, because some people were stapling or nailing things into the wood, which is a no-no. So now they have hooks they can use, and we're reinforcing that you need to use these hooks if you want them. Nice, so thank you, Mr. DeWater, for that. I think that was a great solution to try to keep people from doing things they shouldn't be doing. Let's see, a couple more things. Clam bake RSVPs, Mr. DeWater, by
23rd.
by the 23rd, the clam bake is on 9/14, just make sure it's on your calendars. By the way, that's the same day as the We Are Moreland Hills event, which is from 11 to 3. Clam bake starts at 4, so it could be a full day for people who are attending both. I don't really see a problem. They're different locations, but just so you guys are aware, that's going to be a busy Saturday for Moreland Hills. Greening of the Hills is September 21st. Just mark your calendars for that. Love to have a turnout for volunteers. Stop soon. Mr. Emmerman, I swore in Oriana Arnold for the Student Leadership Program on July 29th. She'll be on Green and the TIB group. Very excited for her. I made the connection that her mother, who I know, is on the school board. So that was really awesome. She came as well as her husband when the swearing in happened. So that's quite exciting. I think she's going to be a great contributor. And then the last thing is I'm going to be out of town next week. My daughter's getting married on Friday, so a week from Friday in Wyoming. I don't know why it's Wyoming, but that's what she wanted. So I will be gone next week. I will be reachable, but I will be out of town next week. I'm leaving on Monday and I'm coming back the following Monday. So I'll be gone for 8 days, but you can reach me, of course, as always. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So that's what I have, unless you guys have questions, happy to answer anything. Okay, thank you then. So let's see. Let's move on to other municipal officials. Let's start with the chief. Chief, do you have a report this evening?
Back to follow, sir. So, yeah, so a couple things is that today, actually, we put our new Chevy Tahoe on the road. They replaced the old 31, the Ford Explorer, and the Ford Explorer is being put into our spare. It's going to be the SRO vehicle assigned to the SRO for the school campus. So that's in place. The mayor met with a young man within the last couple of weeks for a part-time police position. He, like the candidate, I gave him a conditional offer. He is right now going through a couple of the final phases of the process. It would be for a part-time position that could turn into a full-time position with retirements that we have coming up in February. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. It's a competitive market out there right now for police departments. So let's hope that we can keep, this young man interested, because he's got there's other job opportunities, but he likes Moreland Hills and we really don't care. And the gym equipment that we have has been sold. We can sell it on Dove Deals. Gary Byers volunteered to paint the room yesterday. With Ted's help, we got the paint. Gary painted the room, and that's in preparation for, we had that resident that wants to donate some gym equipment to us. So I've been in communication with the flooring company to get that started here soon, and to the donor who would, who wanted to donate the new gym equipment to us. So that's moving along. I don't have a time frame, but probably sometime within the next let's say 6 weeks with ordering everything. So that'll be nice for all employees and elected officials to utilize. So looking forward to that. And that's pretty much it for me.
Thank you, Chief. You made me think of something I would just want to mention here is that I did receive from Sherry the letter from one of our residents regarding one of our newer officers, Sean Shoger, how much they appreciate his service. And I just wanted to say thank you and commend, should I call him Patrolman or Officer Shoger?
Either way,
Either one, Officer
they
Shoger.
both work.
He's a new officer here and he's just doing a great job. So thank you.
And honestly, I couldn't be happier with that. We were routinely, not to blow our own horn, but we're routinely getting compliments and we call them attaboys, attagirls coming in for our people, the work they're doing around the village. So that's it. And the schools are constant. We yesterday or 2 days ago met with the schools to talk about our safety plans going forward for this coming school year. So, and we're preparing for the centennial celebration. So we have some plans in place with Pepper Pike Police and Pepper Pike Fire to increase our presence during that event. It should go on with no problem, but we always like to have contingency plans if something should go wrong. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. DeWater, do you have a report this evening?
The only thing I'll report is we sold the truck on Gov Deals finally after a year and a half. Did not get what we wanted out of it, but we did $21,000. Truck's been sitting there for a while, and put that all in because I got 2 items on the ordinances and.
I saw it drive away. I was happy to have it drive away. I was here when it drove away. Thank you, Mr. DeWater. Next, our engineers report, Mr. Pilarski.
Thank you, Mayor. Doing a little grandparent duty. So I just want to say Rosie was crying before and I brought her out here and she quieted down.
Oh,
You must all have a settling effect. I have nothing to report, Mayor.
other than a beautiful granddaughter. So thank you, Mr. Pilarski.
Thank you. And
That's awesome.
congratulations on your daughter's upcoming wedding.
Thank you. I know you have that experience, so I,
Yeah, a few times.
Those weddings not too long ago. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up would be Mr. Shaw. Do you have a finance report this evening?
Well, Mayor, Jeff was holding a baby. I'm holding some files in the office.
Not existing.
Got it made. But well, congratulations, Mayor, on the upcoming wedding. Only report I have is our income tax is still holding up compared to last year, still about 7% over last year. Interest rates are still holding steady, but as you probably all heard, the CPI came in today showing signs of disinflation. So there's possibility of the Fed's reducing the interest rate by maybe 25 basis points to half of it, 50 basis points. We'll see how that goes, but it's already baked into the market. As I've talked to you, Mayor, before, we've tried to invest in some long-term and try to lock in the 5.5% for any funds that we don't currently need and that don't need to be in our daily operational expenses. So whatever we can put away long-term, we are trying to do that so we can take advantage of the high interest rates, which ultimately they will fall in the first or second quarter of last year. We did join the group rating program with Workers' Comp. And after a couple of years, we got invited back because our claims have been lower. And that will save us about $6,000 a year in premiums. So, and that's what I have.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Anybody have questions for Finance Director? Okay, well then let's move. I do not see Mr. Kowalczyk on. Troubles with the internet. So I will say I guess I'll say, I mean, I've already mentioned that Mr. Kowalczyk's involved with the Higher Mouse Camp situation. I'm not aware of any other building concerns or situations, I'm sure we'll have a report later from planning and DZA, so if there's anything there, we can ask questions on that. So I'll move on to the law report, Mr. Hannah.
No report.
No report, okay, well, thank you, Mr. Hannah. No, let's see, appointments and confirmations this evening, no communications, petitions and claims. So let's go to reports of committees. And I think we could start with BZA Planning Commission. Mr. Richmond, can you give an update from the August 5th meeting?
I am happy to, thank you. So, the Board of Zoning Appeals as well as the Planning Commission met on August 5th. There were two items on the BZA's agenda. One was a side setback variance for a generator at 36960 Chagrin Boulevard that was granted. Then the other item was a setback variance at 191 Miles Road for an addition. And both of these variances, basically, you know, we look at the factors called the quote unquote Duncan factors within our code to prove a practical difficulty. And both of these happen to be on very narrow lots, and because of that, they were in existing non-conforming situations regarding the residence. So the additions and or the generator also needed a variance because of the narrow width of the lots. And at the excuse me, the Planning Commission, there were three items. First was the rear porch addition that the variance was granted for at 191 Miles Road. There was also a garage addition at 180 Meadow Hill Lane that was approved. That rear porch addition was also approved at 191 Miles. And there was site plans for the residents at 34415 Jackson Road for a new dwelling. Excuse me. That was also approved by the commission. Happy to entertain any questions.
Questions, Mr. Richmond?
For a new what?
New dwelling.
Well-
New house, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Richmond, I appreciate that. Next, we have the facilities meeting, which was held on August 6th. Mrs. Arish, do you have a report?
Thanks, Mayor. Have you refer to the August 6th minutes for a full report, but a few highlights include Mr. DeWater shared that they have begun work on the deck that is attached to the community room and will be investigating various options for replacement. You want more detail than that for the council, or?
If anyone wants to know more, we can certainly talk about that, but I think there needs to be a little ripping off what rotted material before we know what's underneath, I guess. And then we'll decide how to proceed, whether
I'll
it's
wait for the reconnaissance.
Just started. And then Mr. Pilarski mentioned that the Garfield stairway is still being built, but they're due to a delay in material delivery. It's what and why it's taking so long. So.
Thank you. Any questions regarding facilities? Okay, thank you. So next, roads and safety also met on the morning of August 6th. Mr. Vincent, do you have a report from that meeting?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. I would also refer you to the minutes for full detailing, and thank you, Mayor and Chief and Ted for highlighting some of the things that I was going to bring up already. So I don't need to say those, and the ordinances that agenda, two of those also were discussed at the big meeting, but I'll highlight one or two things. Jeff reports that the asphalt program is going well. So that's good, especially in some of the roads that were difficult to navigate, Park and Glen And we've gotten good reports back from those residents apparently that was handled well, so that was good. Of course, we expected nothing less. And then on the green initiative side, the solar is also producing, abundance of electricity, putting money back into the grid most days, what we heard. And there's an effort to try to put together some kind of a dashboard that ultimately goes on the website, but that's still in the works. And then finally, Mr. DeWater told us that they did get a grant for $22,000 and change for the chloride reduction grant, which was less than was asked for, but because of the type of the ask, basically, they only granted the articulated snowplow cutting edges. And if you want to know what that is, we can ask Mr. DeWater. It's an attachment to the snowplow, I believe, as opposed to the money that we asked for also for the roof of the barn, which is not awarded. This year. And that's it. Any questions? I have to take questions.
Questions there? Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. So let's move on to the commission. So Parks Commission, Mr. Yonke is not here this evening. I ask you to refer to the minutes. I will say that their biggest focus right now are two things. Number one is the Headley Hills events, which I mentioned in my comments. The second is we're still discussing the park benches, and I'm working with Mr. DeWater on that because I've had inquiries about people wanting to dedicate park benches, and we're working on kind of how that would work, the pricing, and whether it would be for the village versus the Parks Commission, and whether those would raise money for the Parks Commission, or exactly how that would work. So I have to work with Mr. DeWater and Finance to figure that out. But there is some interest in that. We have a number of benches, I think you may know, that we need to replace anyway at Forest Ridge up in the park, as well as around the pond. We've had some inquiries already about people wanting to do that. So we're still working through that. So those are the kind of the two topics. Anything else, I suggest you look at the minutes. Any questions, let me or Bill know, or Angela, the chair, and we'd be happy to answer. And then the Green Commission did not meet. Presently, they only meet every other month. There's such a bunch of energy on that commission, and they change, we'll see. But right now, the last meeting was July 3rd, and we talked about that at the last month's meeting. Their next meeting is, if off the top of my head, I think it's September 4th. So by that time, we expect to have the new members on there, and they should hopefully be prioritizing what they want to work on. So more to come in future meetings from them. And then the DEIB Commission did not meet on July 16th. They tried to meet later in the month. They couldn't meet on the 16th because they didn't have a quorum. Tried to meet later in the month, and a lot of people are out. But I know they're working hard on many of the issues they're working on. And I just asked Mr. Richmond if you have a couple comments about that.
I do, thank you, Mayor. Jeanette and I may be alternating the reports as we go on, but I did have occasion to talk to Lori that even in spite of the fact that they did not meet, there's a couple of exciting events that we wanted to remind everybody about. First one is just let everybody know as a reminder that the next meeting is next Tuesday at 7 p.m. in the community room. Then in order of when it's happening, August 26th, which I believe is a Monday night at 6:30 p.m. at the Orange Library, is the next book club event. And this one, there will be the big discussion on two books, and folks are asked to read one or both if they like, but the first one is by George Takei from called They Called Us Enemy, and the second one is by author Kimmy Cunningham Grant called Silver Like Dust. Both of these books focus on each author's experiences with their families as Japanese Americans in the U.S. internment during World War II, and of course it'll be good, good cultural, good diversity, good intellectual, good, just, basic good discussion amongst folks that, from the commission as well as folks in the community, about, these stories and what we can, what we can learn from them. There is still plenty of room, and, commission encourages everybody to, promote and let everybody know and to come and join. And second is on Saturday, September 14th, as the mayor mentioned, from 11 to 3, which might actually be extended to 4 p.m. Is the next We Are Moreland Hills event. Building on last year's success, there will be, as there was last year, a lot of the same items. The cornhole tournament certainly. There'll also be a component to welcome new residents, and basically, commission would again appreciate any promotion as well as any council or administration ideas that they might have to help make the event even bigger and better than it was last year. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Richmond, thank you very much for that update. That concludes reports of committees and commissions. So the next item is approval of bonds, contracts, and plats. I'm aware of none this evening, unless there's any I didn't see. I think no. So we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. We have 3 ordinances this evening. The first is an ordinance authorizing an agreement for the processing of recyclables collected within the village and declaring an emergency. That is ordinance 2024-34. And our council president has assigned that to Mrs. Ashworth.
Thank you, Mayor. There are what I feel 2 phases to this ordinance. It was first approved in ordinance 2024-11 to participate in the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District Consortium to request bids for the processing of recyclables and waste. You're not wasted. You're the invitation to bid was advertised in the PD on June 5th and 6th, and on July 9th, the bids were received from 4 companies with the opened. On the 16th of July, reps from the consortium committees met to review the bids and selected the best bidder. It was Waste Management was the lowest and best, and the consortium recommended awarding the contract to Waste Management for recycling services commencing October 1st, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2026. With 2 one-year extensions available to the village. So, council hereby approves the recommendation, authorizes the mayor to execute and deliver the waste management agreement included within the council packet. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rule.
Second. Fish, please follow.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Are there any questions?
Couple questions. First, there's a lot of references to bid form in the agreement. So this may be a question for a lot of restaurants. And I don't know if this is like the whole agreement or if there are also going to be things that get attached. And I was wondering, because it's not in this, in this packet, and it seems important, some of the items that are in there, like talking about pricing, things like that. That was one question. The other question is a link in there, like that's a web link. And if you go there, it takes you to a site and you can't see anything unless you're a member of that site. So I don't know, maybe we're a member of that and it's not a problem. For that. So just those 2 things that I assume in the course of actually before we sign this thing. That was it. Otherwise, I had no issue with the agreement itself and content.
So-
comment, Mr. Hanson?
Sure, I think those are both good points, and I haven't tried to access that link. I thought that I was told that it worked and we had access, but we'll double check both of those things. prior
Take you to a site, but then it's like, subscriber only, subscriber, every
Right.
price, it's basically a pricing thing. And everything said subscriber only, so I couldn't see, not that I need to see the prices of flat thing, but that's presumably what it's for.
It may be that Mr. Water has more information about that, but before we sign off on the agreement for the mirror signature.
So the county, once this contract's all awarded, we will have access to that site. With it all being proprietary, until it was awarded, each Waste Management or Kimball, they all go to the county, ask them to use one specific site to base their pricing. So once the contract's awarded, we'll all get it, but there was a page that that gave some pricing and some percentages that they gave the mayor and I when we were having this discussion. But all that, the prices in that are going to depend on our contamination rate. Those prices will get calculated based on these other rates once they do our audit, because they have first 2 months to do the audit. And then we're locked in for that price for the first 12 months. Second year, same thing. They have to do an audit, price will change. It is a risk on our part, but it's a risk on their part too, that we're sharing this cost. So it's, a risk versus reward. That's why we kept saying we really have to be aggressive with our residents to reduce our contamination.
Yeah, I would say I did attend a meeting with Mr. DeWater and our contamination rates were good.
Yeah, we weren't that bad.
They could be better, but they were good relative to other communities. They weren't the top. I think, believe it or not, was it Cleveland Heights? It was one that was really good. I was surprised.
I think Cleveland Heights.
Yeah, but one of the things that we need to do, like Mr. DeWater said, is educate residents. You will see in the September newsletter, I've written some information that this is very important because it's gonna cost us all money or save us all money. That there are two things that are really important here. One is that we obviously participate in the recycling. And number two is that we only put materials that are on the list into the bin. Because our experience from the service department is most people do that, but there's people that throw garbage, there's people that throw batteries, there's people that throw food waste, things that are clearly verboten into the recycling, and that will raise our rates because the contamination rate will affect what we pay, and then also it'll affect the rebate we get from the materials that actually have market value that we put into the bins. So we're gonna do that, and then we're also gonna do some education. So I think Ted, even just today, was it today or yesterday, got some materials from Waste Management. So we're gonna do that, and we are gonna enlist the Green Commission. And the service department, I think, needs to lead it because there are people, but we're gonna enlist a Green Commission to do some education. And we're talking about now going into neighborhoods and offering, a truck and some billboards to show people, because we really wanna educate people as to what they should be doing and not doing.
And we'll audit. We're gonna do an in-house audit of people recycling games. We're not gonna announce what street we're on and when, we're just gonna let people know we're doing it.
Mayor, and Ted, and Jeanette, is any, as of now, and I know it's changes, it can change, but as of now, is there any major changes in that list of items?
There is, the biggest thing is that they are going to take the yogurt containers and the sour cream and those plastics with the lids that we could not do with Kimball. So that's a whole nother stream that's on that paper. That seems pretty simple. I hope
Yeah.
that covers things, Ted, because I was looking at it and I'm like,
So this is the thing that my husband's very particular about. He says, well, what number is on that triangle?
yeah, the numbers don't
Numbers
matter.
don't mean anything.
It's
Okay,
the
they do,
shape.
then they don't, then they do.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't matter.
Yeah.
They don't say.
The number is just the type of class.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
what they
he said he
use,
thought only ones and twos
So-
were recyclable,
Well,
so.
So what they do is they separate them out by type because it increases the value. So, one type of plastic, so, presumably before, only certain types of plastic were recyclable and that went with the numbers, right? But now it's more about segregating the plastics. They do that at the facility so they can maximize the value of each type.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I've seen, and I'll learn more, is that now these containers that don't have the small neck, the plastic containers can be recycled. And then there's things clearly there that should not be, but they never should have been. So that's what,
Yeah.
like, why are people putting those in? They
Yeah.
never should have been. But there is market value to remind the council about that. So the market value is the corrugation, that's probably the highest market value.
Yeah.
And then glass is minimal, but there is some value to glass, is that right?
I think Waste Management has a specific place they take the glass to, so they get money out. Some vendors, like Kimball, was crushing it and using it, I think, in their asphalt aggregate and stuff.
Yeah.
So, that was the value to them. So.
And we got this today. And they also have some videos on there, which we can post on the websites and things, so people can watch. I watched how to reduce contamination video. I thought it was pretty good. It was 2 minutes, just to educate people.
Yeah, we did reach out to Waste Management and any assistance we need for education.
My guess is, I'll bet you, if the Green Commission wants to go and take a tour of that facility, I'll bet you Waste Management.
I think they do it.
They seem to be pretty forthcoming with that. Might be good just to have those conversations, so we can help educate people on it.
Yeah, I know you've done it. I've done it with Mr. DeWater. If the rest of council wants to do it, I don't know why you couldn't tag along if we get Green Commission done. It's pretty interesting place. It's pretty interesting.
The only question that I had, and I reached out to Mayor Spencer, prior to the meeting, was regarding the renewal, the 2 1-year renewals, and if the consortium as a group had to renew together, or if we could just decide on our own what we wanted to renew. And he told me it was just us on our own, whether we wanted to renew. It's not that we all have to decide together. So.
Yeah, that was a little surprising to me, but when we got the bids back, the bid prices were the same. Whether it's 7, 8, 9, 6, what if people drop out and they just gave one price?
Well, there's also a clause in there that anybody else could add on if they want to without rebidding as well, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But I think that's more business for them, I guess, and that must be the reason, but notice that was a clause in there, they're like, you don't have to go back to bid if somebody else wants to opt in.
Yeah, and somebody could drop out doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion for passage.
So. I think it was the same parties over here, I think.
See it's out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass.
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, council. The second piece of legislation tonight is ordinance 2024-35. An ordinance authorizing agreement for transfer and disposal of solid waste services and declaring an emergency. Presented by Mr. Emmer.
So, largely the same. But there's a couple things to add. One, the company that won bid on the consortium is Kimball, it's Waste Management. Kimball is who we had last go around, if I'm correct. I believe their transfer facilities in Twinsburg. We brought this up at the Roads and Safety meeting. It's not unheard of that it's 2 different sites that it's going to. and it wouldn't interfere with our operations in that regard. Likewise, it's probably also good, just to reinforce, that we do our own collection in-house, because I imagine it could be more complicated to have it go to two different sites if we had two different companies trying to collect. So I don't know if that really would make a difference or not, but again, another reason why I'm glad we do this. And those are the two things for this. I don't know, did I say anything wrong there?
No, you're fine.
Just wanted to make sure. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
We have a motion to suspend, second by Mr. Vincent.
Sure. Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Ms. Irish Glass.
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
I move for passage.
Second.
Motion for passage by Mr. Vincent. Mr. Richmond.
Sure. Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Ms. Irish Glass. Yes. Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Thank you, council. I will say, that some more good news on that one is that our rates are flat from last year. They will go up in the second year slightly, but for the first year, we're taking a 0 increase. Mr. Eduardo, am I correct in that? I read the contract, but okay. So that, that's good news as well. And then, I mean, we'll see from there. Also in the newsletter, I mentioned that I'm just going to talk about this. I also, remembering our conversations, Mr. Emmerman, back in 2021, after we evaluated why we do this in-house versus contracting the collection out, I'm explaining that in the newsletter as well. So, because we have a new contract for the processing and disposal, but why do we collect it ourselves versus having someone else? And some of those points that were made back in that meeting, presented in the newsletter in September. So thank you. And the last ordinance this evening is 2024-36, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with American Roadway Logistics for the 2024 pavement marking program, declaring an emergency. That will be presented by Mr. Vincent.
Yes, Mayor. Yeah, this is, I think, relatively straightforward. We got very good bids, 3 bids for the 2024 pavement marking program. The low bidder is being recommended by our engineer, American Roadway Logistics, at $24,616, which is significantly below the engineer's estimate, which was $38,600, which is actually above the highest bidder as well. So that's a good thing. And all the bidders are below the estimate. They were significantly below by about 36%. But according to Mr. Flarsky, they're a good contractor for us. Obviously, a hungry contractor. The other good news on this is that the county is going to reimburse us $9,300 also for this work. So at the end of the day, we're going to get this work for roughly $15,000, which is pretty great. Any other questions, I would direct you to our engineer. With that, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish,
Yes.
Ms. Irish Glass.
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes. Any questions?
Do we have prior experience with them?
I believe we do. I don't know, Jeff, if you're still otherwise detained, or if you can answer that question, but I believe we do have experience with this bidder. Do we not, Jeff?
Actually, Mr. Vincent, no, we don't.
Oh,
This is the first time they'd be working in the village since I've been around.
Okay. So.
I presume that you know plenty of villages that you, cities that work with them.
I think that was directed to you as well, Jeff. I don't know if you heard that. He was wondering
I'm sorry.
if you're aware of them from other
I presume
places.
you're aware from other cities and have a good,
Yeah, yes, they have worked in other communities in the area. And in fact, they're also low bidder on a project and our project in Bentleyville. So they seem to be
great.
wanting to be, like Mr. Vincent said, hungry and want to hit it hard and get some work in this area.
excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, no other questions? I'll make a motion for passage.
Second.
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish West. Yes. Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes. Great, thank you, council. That concludes our legislation for this evening. I'll move on to miscellaneous business by members of council. Does anyone have anything they would like to discuss this evening? Okay, seeing nothing there, I will see if any residents would like to, I see a hand up.
Just one comment, thank you, Steve, for the report. If any of you have any ideas for We Are Moreland Hills, please email us at deib@morelandhills.com. Thank you very much for the email. And perhaps we'll have resource tables there as well, like last year. And fun fact, Ariana Arnold, was one of the people manning the resource table from Orange High School last year, and now she's gonna be part of our committee, so that's fun. And we can also have something about the new recycling program, et cetera. Well, games again, looking forward to, the police department in Cornwall, winning this year.
Red.
And.
No, you're saying.
So, we want to encourage you to sign up, and we want your ideas. Tuesday, we'll be finalizing everything, and Todd, our vice chair, and now also our attorney has secured a food truck as this afternoon. We haven't signed anything yet, but he's hopeful and has been told that he's gonna get in writing that they're also gonna waive the minimum, because we met it last year, except for a small amount that we did not for the commission, but that's a good fun fact too. So that's it, but please sign up, please come. Mayor, hopefully you'll be handing the awards to our chief at the end of the tour.
I should be there. I expect to be there.
Yes.
I have a comment and a question. What if you wanted ideas? What if you did, I don't know how often you want to do the book club, but maybe a book club discussion in September? Is that too soon?
No, our next one is, the 26th, which I'm sorry,
Okay.
there's a conference. I know we're definitely have selected a book, tentatively, cast for like February, because we were trying to do it quarterly, but if you have, but also, no, but we would love, if there's interest, absolutely, and I think in back to school, people are more, maybe, and vacations done, people are more, so email us ideas for books, as well as,
And then my question is. Oh, how's the cookbook thing going?
I'll know better from Mary and Betsy, who are our two co-chairs on that, on how many have been submitted. It's a long period of time that we're getting submissions from. So I haven't had an update since July, but people are already trying to send things in. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and I should encourage you that as well. Please send in pictures, send in recipes. We're excited about that. It's a longer
Longer-term project.
Yeah.
So Laura, do you have the copy of the Cooking in Sugar Valley one that was done a number of years ago? Do you have one of those? Because if you don't, I have one in my pantry and I use it. And if you just want to see what it was, I don't know if others have it, but I have it.
I would love
There are
to
a
see it.
lot of-
I have the more, I bought off eBay of all places. A Moreland Hills made in the it says copyrighted 1990s, Moreland Hills cookbook that was made by the Women's Committee. And I gave that to Mary and Betsy. I haven't gotten that back.
Maybe it's the same. I don't know. There are a lot of recipes, like Mayor Renda put a lot of recipes in it. There are a number of other residents in the village that I know
I would
as I
love
go
to see
through
it.
it.
If we
Yeah.
could borrow it for
It's a
Tuesdays.
spiral thing. It's getting old, so the spiral's cracking and stuff. But I
Is it a
use
brown,
it.
is it a brown color?
No,
Is that-
it's like a green. It's got a green picture of trees on the front. And then it's about this thick. I mean, I have it. I use it.
We'd love to see it Tuesday if I
Yeah,
You can bring it here.
yeah, I can bring it in tomorrow. I'll bring it in here
Okay,
tomorrow. I'll try to
alright.
bring it in.
Yeah, that'd be
But,
great.
You just thought you might see it.
No,
I mean, it
that's,
says you can order it in the back, but I mean, it's so old now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other miscellaneous business, any other council person may have, or officials? Okay, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody? So moved.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Richard.
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yeah.
Mrs. West, yes. Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Benson.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So happy.
Right, it's on, it's actually.
And then